Post-mortem pupils don't line up like that. They never do. Not perfectly. Not mirror clean. Not to the point where you can measure it twice and get the same number. Even under good lighting, even on a calm case, there's always a fraction of drift. Muscles relax unevenly. Pressure settles where it wants. Bodies don't care about symmetry. This one did. I measured twice. 3.2 millimeters, both pupils. Perfect bilateral match. Reality was wrong right at the measurement. The intake record was still open on my screen. Once I finalized it, every downstream review would use that version. Transport, prep, QA funeral director. If something went wrong later, they wouldn't look at the body again. They'd look at the record. They'd look at my name next to it. I didn't rush. I never do. I entered the descriptor the same way I always had. Neutral language. No interpretation. Only what I could defend. No visible marks. I saved the intake. The text disappeared. Not faded, not erased with ceremony. Just gone like it had never been there. In its place, new text settled into the field. Bilateral symmetry verified. A check mark appeared beside it. Confirmed. I didn't move right away. I didn't swear. I didn't lean back. I clicked into the descriptor field to verify what I was seeing. The form loaded. Same text. The timestamp read 11:13. I'd opened the file at 11:15. There was no banner, no warning, no note about conflicts or overrides. The field wasn't highlighted. It wasn't locked yet. It was just correct. I looked at the timestamp again. That's the part you can't argue with. Words can blur, screens can refresh, but timestamps don't drift backward. I hovered the cursor over the field. No correct, no edit option. Read only. If I changed it now, it would trigger a hold. That would kick the case up for review. If I finalized it as is, the error would move downstream with my initials attached. Those were the only two outcomes. My cursor hovered over finalize. Everyone in this job knows what that button means. Once it's pressed, the record stops being a draft and starts being evidence. You don't clarify later. You don't add context after the fact. The system assumes you meant what you finalized. I didn't click it yet. I looked back at the body. The symmetry was still there, not just in the eyes. Skin temperature across the face was even. No cold pockets, no warmth blooms. And there was no livor mortis where it should have been. No pooling, no settling. The system wasn't wrong. It had just arrived there first. That didn't make it better. I raised the camera and took the standard post-prep photos. Same distance, same angles, same lighting I always used. No framing choices, no emphasis. These weren't images for interpretation. They were for verification. When the preview loaded in the system, the descriptor was already attached. Bilateral symmetry verified, stamped as part of intake, not added after. I didn't think the record was lying. The record didn't argue. It just sat there correct while I became the error. I printed the intake summary. The printer warmed up. No error lights, no jam warning. The paper fed smoothly. The page came out clean. At the descriptor section, a block of text had been replaced. Redacted admin override pending audit. No explanation. No reference number. No policy citation. Just a neutral line where my words should have been. There was nothing to correct. That thought arrived fully formed, and I didn't like that it did. It wasn't panic. It wasn't fear. Just a small, fractured, tight-breathing jaw set, and then it passed. I swallowed it the way you do when you're still on the clock. I went back to the screen. The finalize button was still there. Waiting wouldn't fix anything. Changing the descriptor would only make it worse. The system had already committed to a version of events. My delay wasn't going to undo that. I clicked finalize. The interface shifted immediately. syncing with 2 prior background versions. Audit merge in progress. A loading bar appeared, steady, no stutter. I moved the cursor toward cancel. The button was grayed out. A small notice appeared beneath the progress bar. Process interrupt disabled during audit sync. Initials populated in the audit trail. Not mine. Not anyone I recognized. The timestamp locked. That was the moment the record stopped being something I worked on and became something that worked on its own. When the sync finished, the file closed itself. A desktop notification slid into view. Reminder scheduled case Nebraska round Ferrards. Incident report pre-filled. Awaiting Embalmer signature. I hadn't created an incident report. I hadn't scheduled a reminder. I opened it anyway. The report was already written. My phrasing, my cadence. The same terms I use when I'm being careful. Observations I'd considered but chosen not to include were there word for word. Even the pauses matched the timestamps, aligned with the moments I'd hovered thinking. I didn't think it had read my thoughts. I thought it had calculated my behavior. I thought it knew what I would write. The timeline at the bottom of the screen updated. 6 hours from now, the funeral director would open the record. 8 hours from now, the family would see the intake photos. Monday morning QA would reconcile the audit trail. They'd see a perfect file. They'd see my signature. And they'd act on a version of events I never agreed to. Your screen refreshes without you touching it. The intake record last night's case slides upward in the workflow queue. 1 row moves, 1 status flips. Pending review to verified / no action required. No animation, no confirmation dialogue, just done. You don't move the mouse. Your hands stay on the armrests. Same font, same weight, same neutral gray. Nothing blinks, nothing asks for approval. The system behaves the way it always does when it's finished with something. Quiet, confident, certain. You lean back slightly, not in relief, but because there's nowhere else to go on that screen. Whatever you thought you noticed last night isn't provisional anymore. It's accepted. It's baseline. They arrive together. Not rushing, not urgent. Risk management steps in first. She introduces herself the way people do when nothing is supposed to be wrong, name, department, purpose. Her voice is level practiced engineered to lower temperature. This is standard verification, she says. A procedural requirement before release. Nothing more. A uniformed police officer enters behind her. You turn toward him without thinking. His hand lifts immediately, palm out, fingers together. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't look at you. A small, precise gesture, 2 fingers toward risk management. You talk to them. Then he steps back against the wall. Arms fold across his chest. Weight shifts to 1 foot. The posture of someone waiting for paperwork to finish. Police authority is present, and it defers. Risk management explains why they're here. The family raised concerns. There's legal representation involved. For cases like this, an independent verification is required before final release. She lists it cleanly. No emphasis, no implication, no crime framing, no suspicion, just procedure repeating itself. She opens her laptop. The intake photo loads instantly. Same framing, same lighting, same neutral background, and there it is. The indentation at the right temple. Clear, defined, unmistakable. It's logged in the metadata, time-stamped down to the second, documented as part of the original intake. Your stomach tightens not sharply, not dramatically, but with the dull certainty of something that's already been decided. You took that photo. You remember adjusting the angle because there was nothing to capture. You remember the smoothness of the skin under the prep lights. Risk management tilts the screen slightly. The officer steps forward just enough to see. His eyes go straight to the timestamp. He nods once. That's it. No questions. No discussion. Reality isn't debated. It's presented as settled fact. You understand then this is the version that exists now. Not yours. Not the truth. Just the record. Risk management moves into the checklist. No tool marks, no tissue trauma, no signs of intervention. Everything matches intake documentation. You wait. You let her finish. Then carefully you speak. One sentence. Calm. Professional. That indentation wasn't there when I took the photo. She doesn't respond. She closes the laptop and slides it toward the officer instead. He looks again. Same timestamp. Same file. A small exhale leaves him not frustration, not concern, just acknowledgement. His head tilts slightly. Then he speaks. Stick to the process. That's the only thing he says. It's not advice. It's not reassurance. It lands with the weight of instruction. You don't react. Because reacting wouldn't change anything. You register it internally for what it is. A directive from law enforcement. Your experience is no longer actionable. They turn away from you. Risk management addresses the family now. Her voice softens, not emotionally, but professionally. Grief can distort memory, she explains. Trauma affects perception. Documentation is consistent. The process worked as intended. The officer steps closer to them, not protectively, just positionally. He's part of the group now. You are not. No one looks at you while they talk. You're still standing in the same place, wearing the same badge, but something has shifted. You can feel it. Witness becomes subject. No confrontation happens. No raised voices. They simply stop, including you. As she speaks, risk management opens her tablet. You see it before she mentions anything else. A familiar form loads. Final release certification. The status field glows amber. Pending counter signature. Below it, smaller text due within 24 hours. Your hands go cold. Once that signature happens, the record seals. She doesn't explain it. She doesn't need to. The officer checks his watch, nods once, and leaves. No goodbye. No follow-up. Legal authority exits satisfied. The room settles not because anything was resolved, but because nothing is being challenged anymore. When they're gone, the silence feels different. Not tense. Finished. You pull out your phone. Your work phone is locked in your locker. Procedure. This one is yours. Personal device. Local storage. You open photos. The folder is empty, not just the intake image. Every photo from yesterday. Prep room shots, documentation, even the flowers on the viewing table. All gone. A system notification slides down. Enterprise compliance enforced. Work-related media removed per security policy. You stare at the screen. You remember installing your work email on this phone years ago. Just once. For convenience. You remember deleting the app afterward, thinking that was enough. The admin permissions stayed. You never saw them again. You don't feel shock. You feel confirmation. The institution didn't correct reality. It erased competition. Nothing escalates after that. No alarms, no calls. Everything holds. Because the countersignature hasn't happened yet. You know when it's scheduled. Tomorrow morning. After that, the body's released. The record becomes evidence. And nothing can be changed. Not because it's right, but because it's finished. The system is waiting. The countersignature comes through at 9:12 a.m. You're standing at the workstation when the status line updates. No sound, no banner. Just a line of text changing state. Final release authorized. You don't move the mouse. You don't reach for the keyboard. Out of reflex, you try anyway. Your hand clicks. The sound registers. Nothing happens. No error. No warning. The button is already dead. The screen refreshes hard. Everything grays out at once. The timestamp locks. That's it. No prompt asking you to confirm. No option to undo. The way software behaves when the decision was never yours. You try the intake record. Access denied. The archive. Restricted. You exhale. The record isn't missing. It's finished. You open an older case. One from before last night. The screen loads with the same delay it always has. Same layout. Same formatting. The intake photo appears. And it has the same detail. A shallow indentation at the right temple. Labeled. Time-stamped. Logged as if it had always been there. You scroll. Every snapshot shows it. Every revision history. There's no before. The past doesn't resist. It aligns. You're early today, your supervisor's voice directly behind you. You didn't hear him approach. He doesn't look at your screen. He's holding a tablet angled toward himself. Good catch on this one, he says. Not praise, not curiosity. A performance note. He scrolls. Yesterday's case, he continues. Same placement, same documentation style, another swipe, and the one before that. You don't remember working yesterday. You glance down at your hands. Clean, steady. No soreness. No residue. He nods slightly. You're getting consistent. The word settles in. Not improvement, alignment. The phone rings. 6 a.m. intake. You answer automatically. Your voice sounds normal, professional. You write the name down, follow the script. When you hang up, you're already moving. The receiving bay smells like disinfectant and cold air. The body bag is heavier than average. You unzip it. The anomaly is already there. Of course it is. Same location, same depth. You don't hesitate. You note it. The form fills. The system accepts it without comment. In the locker room, you pull out your employee ID badge. The photo catches your eye. Your face looks right. Too right. The birthmark below your left ear is gone. The one that's been in every photo since childhood. Dark, uneven, impossible to miss. You turn your head toward the metal locker door. Nothing. Uniform skin tone. You take out your phone. Open an old personal photo. The birthmark isn't there either. Not blurred, not edited, just absent, as if it never qualified to be recorded. Back at the workstation, the next case populates. Same template, same checklist. Your hands move without instruction. This is when it settles. Not fear, not panic, just understanding. Rule 3 wasn't there to protect the bodies. It was there to protect the process, to keep reality from learning what you expect. Your phone buzzes. A calendar notification you didn't schedule. Viewing confirmed tomorrow, 2 p.m. Family request assigned Embalmer. You don't recognize the name, but the system does. It's already accepted. The workflow continues, and now it knows exactly what normal looks like. If this felt uncomfortable, good. Because nothing supernatural happened here. No monsters, no curses. Just a system doing exactly what it was designed to do. If you've ever worked somewhere that told you just follow the process, then you already know how this story ends. If this hit a little too close to home, hit like. Not to support me, but to acknowledge that these systems exist. Subscribe if you want more stories where the paperwork is scarier than the body. And I want to know this comment below. Do you think Rule 3 protects people? Or does it protect the system from us? Because once enough people agree on what's normal, the workflow never needs permission again.